Today I have Holly Smith from BizFit Club and 30 Days to Happiness joining us on the Business Growth Mindset podcast. Holly is an entrepreneur, an accountability coach, and the author of the 30 Days of Happiness. She's best known for her first founding business, BizFitness, a health and fitness program designed for busy individuals who work long hours and feel like they have no motivation, no time, and no energy to put themselves and their health first. She also coaches entrepreneurs and business owners to reach their big visions, dreams, and goals by creating high-performance habits and holding them accountable while achieving outstanding results. Now, get comfortable and listen up, because today you will learn about the power of habits, what it takes to thrive at 22, and how to build a mindset for growth. Welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Mindset Podcast, Series 3. Oh my gosh, we are Series 3. I'm your host, Livolsi, and I'm incredibly excited, and I mean it, incredibly excited to welcome our guest, Holly Smith. That's right, Holly Smith on the show today. Holly, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
You should be, because I am excited. Not like we don't talk often, but I'm actually really, really pumped to have you here on the podcast. I think that you are one of the brightest young people going around in the fitness industry. You put so much passion and energy into your life, but I'm not here to tell the world how great you are. I'm going to let you tell the world how great you are in your own words. But more importantly, Holly, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, where you've come from and where you are today?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christian. So I basically started, I came out of school, still interested in fitness. I'd always been in fitness and doing sport. I used to ride horses. That was equestrian was my sport. I went to states for all sorts of, swimming, running, athletics. So I was always sporty growing up. And then I kind of stopped all sport. So when you stop all sport, your metabolism keeps going. You put on a crap load of weight. So that's what happened. And then I got really depressed, really sad, hated my life, went through that phase, and then started basically building myself back up. And I joined the gym again, got really fit. So I left school thinking, all right, am I going to go into real estate or am I going to go into the fitness industry? And I was like, all right, well, I'll try real estate first. It was good. Worked my ass off for, a year and a half, ran the whole office, was door knocking 100 houses a day up hills. I was cold calling 200 people a day. It was intense. And I did it, and I got paid really badly that I basically had to get another job, was working 16-hour days. I got so burnt out, I couldn't walk. I was bedridden for 4 weeks. And then from then on, I was like, I can't live like this any longer. And then I decided to go into the fitness industry, build BizFit, which is basically a fitness program for busy people who, do get burnt out. And and that's basically how it all started with BizFit. And now I am about to launch my first book, which is really exciting. It's been a 3-year process. Thank you. Yeah, it's called 30 Days to Happiness. So now that's going to be, I guess, another business venture in itself, which Christian is awesomely helping me with. And I'm very excited about it because it's everything that basically pulled me out of a dark place and is now helping me live the happiest life I possibly can.
Holly, that's amazing. And it's also quite amazing that, you're only 21 years old.
22.
All right, 22. That's right, 22. Wow, 22. You're doing really well in terms of the changes that you or the transformations that you create for your clients. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about what you do specifically, and then I want to come back to the book. But when I say specifically, you've got a couple of products. You've got 3 products in your repertoire, and why don't you share a little bit more about those so people can get understanding you're not just some fitness queen.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you're not. You're much more than that. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really interesting because a lot of people, come to me and go, whoa, I used to be the queen of LinkedIn fitness because there wasn't many people at that time doing fitness stuff on LinkedIn.
Actually, how many followers have you now got on LinkedIn?
57,000, 58 or something like that. And that's only been like not even 2 years. How crazy.
Okay, so tell me something. Just for shits and giggles, how many views do you get a week?
Oh, a week. Oh, I'd have to ask.
You don't even check it. It's like, I love vanity metrics. You don't even check it.
Isn't that okay? Let's just say easy over 100,000 views.
Well, on one post.
No, not on one post. You said a week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So in a week, on average,
I've seen you get 100,000 views on one post.
Yeah, average. I get around 40 to 100, probably on average.
So you're probably doing about 350,000 views a week, right?
Yeah.
I just want to, because look, you're really humble about this stuff, and you don't get caught up in it. That's why you're a real dream to mentor. But and just as from a caveat's perspective, I work with Holly one-on-one, helping her grow and scale her business and launch the strategies that she deploys. So I just want to be very clear. I don't want anyone to think, how's Christian know all this stuff? But I have that an immense privilege in doing so, and watching someone so young and so humble grow. But why don't you share with us the products that you now offer to people and how they transform people's lives?
Awesome. Yeah, no worries. So I still do fitness. I have personalized health and fitness programs, which is the base to everything, right? And then I fell into the, I guess, accountability coaching, we call it, space. But I absolutely love and have always been obsessed with habits, routine, and different forms of discipline. So I'm obsessed with those three things. And that kind of, as I was coaching people, it turned into accountability coaching. So now I have an accountability program, which I help busy people or people, entrepreneurs, business owners who have specific goals, visions, dreams, and don't know what to do in regards to putting things to action. So we create a plan, goal setting, and then actually understanding the reason why they have to do that and why they want to do that. And then I really go deep into, obviously, high performance habits, scheduling your days efficiently, being more productive, and living a happier life through that way. So I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Like, I love it so much. And seeing people's transformation through having no clue what they want in their life to now building businesses, running marathons and traveling and doing amazing things, buying houses, investing, and seeing people, progress like that is just so rewarding.
Look, and it sounds like it. You can see the passion and the enthusiasm when you say it. It's interesting. I think where your business is different to other people is that you, as you said, fitness and nutrition is at the core of what you do, even in the accountability side. So it's for really busy people who are really struggling, not because they're incapable of managing their own life, but they're busy and their health and fitness really falls down at first. And that's what's really unique about what you do is rather than, say, a business coach or someone else, you're not there to try and teach them about their business. That's their skill set. You're really there to help them perform better and live a better life. Yeah, and I think that's really cool. But so you've got the accountability program. You've got a BizFit Club, which is kind of like, do you want to explain that?
Yep. So the BizFit Club, we've just basically relaunching it with amazing new things. Adrian Lee is got some awesome programs that we're also going putting through the BizFit Club. So you'll have to check it out. Anyway, so it's basically a club full of value. Let's just put it that way. So, for $33 USD, you'll get all your meal plans, all your recipe books, all your exercise programs, videos, Q&As weekly. You'll get everything basically you need to start your health and fitness journey. So I'm loving it at the moment. It's looking great.
I mean, look, you've got a wonderful advantage that when you've got, almost 60,000 people following you on a business platform, right? Like you are a serious influencer on LinkedIn, that you can afford to completely price slash the entire market. Obviously, I know what you're doing, and I think that, and that was one of the strategic decisions that we made because the rest of the industry sells what they deem as a similar product at that automated level for $97 US.
Yeah.
And we were trying to work out the value proposition when we were talking about it. It was a lot of fun, and it didn't take much convincing when we looked at the numbers at where you want to be, because one thing I know is that you're like, in a lot of ways, you and I are very similar. That's why we work together. We really want to help people.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Your objective always has been to help more people. And how do you do that? When the economy is shifting and not everyone can afford, an accountability coach, at X amount of dollars per month. And I think you've been able to create this BizFit Club for all these people, not just executives, this is anybody, at such a great level, entry point. And as you did, you mentioned Adrian. Adrian's going to be featuring on this podcast next week. And Adrian's one of my business partners, and Adrian's like a fitness nut, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was showing me the other day that, did you see that there was a post that he was doing some bicep curls or something?
Yeah.
So much. And it got something like 100,000, just under 100,000 views. And he sent it to me boasting, and I think my response was, "You didn't make 100,000, buddy." And he was like, "Oh, you just seriously?" I'm like, "Come on." And Adrian has a lot of experience. He's essentially partnering with you to create an extra layer inside the
that's right,
which is pretty cool. Like, it is very cool. And you've also been Adrian's understudy for a couple of years, and he's mentored you. And so, you're an amazing person, because you know how to reach out to people and demonstrate that vulnerability. So on that point, I'm going to ask you another question.
Sure.
And then we're going to come back to the book, okay? So I really do want to come back to the book, because I'm reading the book at the moment. I'm actually halfway through, Holly. You'd be surprised.
Oh, really? Well done.
I wasn't just going to read a couple of chapters. I've just started making my way through it. And I'm going to be pleased to endorse it. So far, it is very, very compelling and very insightful. And I'm actually really enjoying the straight talk that's there. And it is your journey. It's very real. But what I wanted to ask you before we go back to the book, what's the biggest challenge that you are facing in your role or in your business right now? And I guess I want you to share how you're tackling that. And it doesn't have to be a problem now. It could be a problem that you had previously. I know you're smiling because you're thinking, you cheeky guy. No, but I'm going to give you the option, right? Something you're dealing with now, or something you've dealt with in the past. But I want to know how you tackled it too.
Yeah.
So listeners can learn from that.
Yeah, I think one thing that, like, business owners, entrepreneurs, whoever listens to this podcast will understand is that once you have a lot going for you, like you say all the time, success, opportunity, like, they're all going to cause you to have to work more and do more and delegate more and outsource more. And when you're overwhelmed and you've got all these things happening, like I do right now, like I've got a members portal launching, I've got a whole teachable course happening, finishing my book, photo shoots, like everything is just going on. And I sat there the other day and I was like,
and you love it.
And I low-key love it. I love it because it gives me purpose, like, not because I'm striving and it's not work to me. It's I'm taking a stepping stone closer to my true purpose. There's no end result in purpose. That's what I believe. Anyway, so with everything going on, I sat here and I was like, whoa, I've got so much happening. In the past, I would have just broken down, thrown my paper in the air, walked out, like just had a meltdown, right? And I literally sat there and I was like, everything's okay. And I sat in my room, read for an hour, did some journaling, and I felt amazing,
Could you hear my voice in the background? Is that
what would Christian do?
Or what would Christian be saying if I wasn't doing what I'm meant to be doing, right?
Yeah.
No, look, I actually just want to touch on that. When I first started working with you, you were incredibly overwhelmed. It was actually
it was
Adrian that connected us. Adrian said, listen, I got this rock star client that really could use you. I know you don't do much one-on-one work anymore. And she's little. And I'm like, what do you mean little? Well, it's not like your typical, corporate that you work with. She's young. You know, like when I met you, I just went, yeah, okay. I could see the potential here. And it's been one of the best 8-9 months of my life because in my line of work, as you know, I'm working with a lot of, people that are in their late 30s to 60s, in that gap. They've got very established businesses. Some of them are elephants, and I have to convert them from elephants to new scale-ups. And with you, it was really that embryonic startup that, and it was like, how do we get her to go from here to the next level? But you're also a one-person team. And so that's really unique to me. But the thing that really captivated me was you got really overwhelmed, even though you had achieved already so much. And I knew that if we could break through that self-limiting belief and that whole, am I enough? I knew that we could get you to where you are today. And, have we had huge successes? I would not count anything we've done as a huge success, but we got you to this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is crazy.
And that's the success, right? We got you to this point where you are now working within, you're even doing some work with Adrian, coaching some of his clients. It's just your next level. You're growing, but what you've done is that you form these unique bonds with the core people, and what you've done is perfect the model, right? And I think that's a really cool story because, and we won't have enough time for it today, but what I want you to share a bit more is how and I like how you just demonstrated to our listeners how you overcome any form of overwhelm, because at the end of the day, it's not like you've just gone, hey, I've got all these amazing coaches in my life, all these amazing friends and mentors. It's all going to be okay. That's bullshit, right? Like, we can all help you. We're only a phone call away. You know that you can reach out to me anytime. And I think that gives you comfort, but it's that inner voice that you've really developed, Holly.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like I remember, like even when I first started with you and through, other times, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Christian, I've got to do this and this didn't happen. I didn't make a sales lead, blah, 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 blah. And you basically just like, say, slap me in the face and go, stop, move on, and that's been probably one of the biggest game changers.
She didn't actually, I never actually slapped her in the face.
Oh, not physically.
Let's be really clear.
Sorry. It was a metaphor.
We got like that. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, look, I think for you, it was just a matter of becoming really self-aware that what you'd achieved was already outstanding. Right? A bit early for a pink ruby grapefruit drink.
It's not alcoholic. I started 75 hard today.
What? So I was on a call yesterday.
Yeah.
Someone said, oh, yeah, I'm doing 75 hard. I'm like, what in the hell is 75 hard?
Wow.
And she turns around and goes to me, hang on a minute. Ye who knows everything does not know what 75. I said, this must be some fitness thing, right? Like I said, I don't know. And do you want to, just for our listeners?
Yeah.
I'm assuming a lot of my listeners have no idea what 75 hard is. Can you just explain it, please?
Yeah, I guess if you're not on like Instagram and TikTok and scrolling, you won't know what it is. So I guess, and basically you're probably already doing 75 hard on a daily basis, Christian. You're so disciplined and you're pretty mentally tough. So basically everyone does it for their own reasons. I'm doing it because it's in line with my values, number one. And two, I want to improve and increase my consistency of mental toughness. So people do it to like lose weight, whatever, but 75 hard, it's 75 days. And you do the same thing basically every day. So I think I'm twisting it slightly because I might be competing in a bodybuilding comp later this year. So I'm going to make sure I'm not losing too much weight, blah, blah, blah. So basically I think, I forgot his name. It's the guy who has the Real AF podcast, who created it, Andy, I forgot his last name. Anyway, so he created it and it's 75 days and it's, wake up at the same time every day, like 5 a.m. That's what I'm doing. I think he has cold shower, 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside, 3 liters of water or 4 liters of water, stick to a specific diet, doesn't say what, and 10 pages of a book. I think that was pretty much it. But I'm twisting it. I'll wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, you are. The person that explained to me yesterday, right, was the list was longer. And I'm just here going, okay, I do that anyway. And you're right. Like I actually do now what I know what 75 hard is, I pretty much do close to that because it is discipline, right? You have to teach yourself. And on that note, let's talk a little bit about your book, right? Like, I mean, it's huge, right? It's huge. It's 30 chapters, right? And it's well, what am I telling people? Tell me about 30 Days to Happiness.
Yeah, so I guess 30 Days to Happiness, I started writing it like, maybe 3 years ago. And yeah, when I was, I guess, through the really unhappy time, I read Millionaire Success Habits. That's my number one. You know, everyone has that one book that changes their life. That was the book. And I've read it. I read it almost every single year still because it brings me back to my roots and it has, you know, action steps. I love Dean Graziosi, if that's his last name.
Yeah, Graziosi.
Yeah, he's so awesome. But anyway, that was the first book. I was like, oh, yeah, it was one of those freebies that you pay for shipping. And I was like, yep, got it free. Anyway, so I read it. It was great. And I was like, oh, man, I really need to change my habits. Like, anyway, but it wasn't really from the book. It was just like my own habits that they already existed. But I just thought, all right, I read about this. Like, for example, one of the habits in the book was smiling, right? I never used to smile. Like, probably for years, I wouldn't smile. Yeah, I'm not joking. I was the most unhappy, you know, would never smile, wouldn't show. I hated my smile, didn't want to show teeth. Like, I was poker face all day, every day. And I just one day I decided, like, when I was in the car driving to work, this is when I was in real estate, that I would smile the whole way there, whole way back. And it was like 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. So I was smiling on purpose for 40 minutes a day, 5 days a week, or whatever it was, 6 days a week. And that actually helped me. And then when I was at work, I stopped saying, yeah, I'm all right, just surviving. Oh, yeah, it's all right. Today's okay. How are you? I'm all right. I would say, I'm great. I'm fabulous. Thanks for asking. And you know what? All these habits that I've built, they just reconstruct your subconscious mind. You start becoming your true, authentic self, that positive person everyone wants to be around. And basically from that, I wrote a book based on those habits, and it starts really surface level, I guess, you know, with your schedule, your routine, the foundation of your health and fitness, posture, smiling, all the physical things. And then towards the end, it goes really deeper into values, purpose, financial happiness. Just that was, I guess, the way I saw it is. So people can read it and go, all right, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. And that's the whole idea of my philosophy of the book. And I guess it goes into giving it to a higher power, completely letting go. But I really, really truly believe that if, like, my definition of happiness is if you won the lotto tomorrow and you lost your house, you'd still be happy. That to me is true contentment and happiness.
Hang on, if you won...
Wait, that didn't make sense. That did not make any sense.
No, I'm like, holy hang on a second.
Wait, that was...
Of course you'd be happy. If you won $10 million and lost your $2 million house, you'd still be all right.
Let me rephrase that. If you won the lotto tomorrow, you wouldn't be any happier than you already are.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense. If you lost your house and your cat died, you still obviously be a little bit upset, but you would still be content and happy.
Some people would be really upset if their cat dies.
Of course. But
I understand what you mean. It's really important to distinguish the difference between true happiness, right, and superficial happiness.
Yeah,
so many people have these underlying superficial values, right, and they're very materialistic, they're superstitious and materialistic. True happiness, and I know because I'm reading your book, true happiness comes from really articulating who you are, what you stand for, why, but also embracing a series of habits in your life that will help you maintain that happiness when adversity comes around. And I think that's one thing. I almost look at your book as a handbook, because I agree with you. Someone doesn't have to follow all 30 of the habits that you've written about. You could pick and choose a handful of them, and that will change your life. And I think that's what I'm really enjoying now is like, I don't particularly like this habit. I'm not going to do it because it's not relevant to me. Yeah. But then you read another one, you're like, wow, that's actually really neat. But you could also see how you could apply that to your family and to friends and everybody around you. But look, so when is the book actually being released? And don't say I finished reading.
1st of June. The goal is to have a pre-launch on the 1st of June. And then, everything else
awesome.
will come from that.
So 1st of June, ladies and gentlemen, we'll make sure we drop a note in the show notes where you can get a pre-order on Amazon or on one of the other fancy sites that'll be sold. And also in the show notes, we'll have Holly's LinkedIn URL so you can reach out to her. I know that Holly doesn't just add anybody. So if you've listened to the podcast, please let her know. When you add her, put a little note saying, I heard you on the podcast. That thing you said about the house didn't make any sense. So, and then you'll know that you actually listened to the whole podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
So, no, look, seriously, Holly, the book is only one step in the journey. I know that you've been working tirelessly also to convert the book into a serious course. So people that have read the book and want to dive deeper are going to have the opportunity to sign up and do your course. I think it's going to be one of the most incredible bits of education on the market, particularly because there isn't much out there. You're a true practitioner. You've lived this. And I know some people are thinking, well, hang on, she's 22 years old. It's like, I think everyone's got a story and we can all learn from it, regardless of age. I mentor a lot of people and a lot of underprivileged kids too. And, I recently was talking to one of my mentees and, they're 12 and they've got a really challenged life. And, for a 12-year-old, they've already lived what most adults don't live in their life. And this person is going to be outstanding in the next 3 or 4 years. They've been able to turn their life around. I'm pumped. But I think we learn from everybody. And I think 100%. That's really important. And it's the story that we connect with. So this course that you're writing, when's that due to be launched? Same time as the book or?
Yes. Yeah. So the same time the book is officially launched.
Right.
I guess I'll have a pre-launch for the course as well. But it's just basically a teachable course or, a course with coaching as well, which is goes into a deeper, more, I guess, understanding of who you really are and how can you continue living a happier life on a daily basis. And the habits in the book are pretty, not all of them are basic. And again, like you said, you can pick and choose which ones resonate with you. But if you read the book and you're like, wow, I really enjoyed this, I really know I need to dial down on specific habits and I want to continue this and go, deeper and deeper and be held accountable as well to them, then, the course is going to be awesome.
Great. Well, I mean, look, I think that we've learned already a lot about you in just a short amount of time that we've been talking, but let's go fire away a few more questions. What should I ask you? You're going to love this question. Okay. What should I ask you that I don't know enough to ask?
So what should you ask me?
Yeah, if I didn't know what to ask.
Oh, far out. If you didn't know what should you ask me?
So that's a tough one for you because I actually know a lot about you.
Yeah, I'm really have to think about that. I feel like I've shared so much.
I've stolen that question off another podcast. I loved it so much that I had to steal it.
That's a really good one. Could you give me an example?
No, I can't give you an example because that would mean that I'm giving you the answer, right? Okay, there's so much that I know about you.
Yeah.
But if I didn't know something, what would I ask you? So basically, tell me something I absolutely don't know and share it with the audience.
That is so hard. Well, there's probably a trillion things the audience doesn't know, but I'm thinking you. Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
I'll share some embarrassing moment with us. Go on.
Oh, an embarrassing moment. Oh, no. All right. This is the first thing I thought of. And it's not really an embarrassing moment, but I guess it's a more motivational moment.
No, cool, go.
The first time. Oh, wait. Do I ask you the question? Like, do you ask me a question or do I just say?
No, just say.
All right. Something. So the very first time I ever videoed myself and posted it on social media was the day coronavirus hit. And it wasn't.
Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't supposed to be that way. It just happened. And I did a whole mental health thing, blah, blah, blah. And it was when I first started going online. So I was part of a coaching community and they're like, you have to post a video. That's how the audience engage. And they're exactly right. That's how they're like, no one trusts you. So I sat in my car after a walk. It was freezing cold. It was like closer to winter. I don't even know when Corona started. Started the year sometime 2 years ago. And I literally sat there with my phone. I thought, wow, all right. And I just said, you know what? A lot of people are going to be struggling being locked inside the next blah, 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 who knows how long, And I just spoke from my heart. And that was the first video I ever posted, no makeup on, super raw. And I just said, that was the day I decided not to care what people thought. And ever since then, that's what I believe built me 57,000 connections on LinkedIn.
I think that's very cool. I think it's a really cool story. I didn't know that your first video was in March of 2020.
Yeah, it must have been.
And I think that really demonstrates the tenacity, but also your resilience, diving straight in on the day that the world pretty much started to slow right down. And in less than 2 years, your authentic self has generated, some 60,000 followers. And I think that's really special. And I hope that the listeners are picking up why Holly is someone that people want to follow. And when you watch her videos, you can really see the work that goes into what she wants to communicate to people, and it's really powerful. So, Holly, thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Tell me about a customer that has touched your heart, and tell me about a customer that's changed your business.
Good one.
Could be the same.
Yeah. Okay. So, they were both males. So the first one that touched my heart and made me actually, I've had a few of them, but I'll say the most, it's actually almost like the recent one, I guess. And yeah, it's not that recent, but anyway, first person I think of, and he basically made me realize every single time I think about him, not that I think about it weirdly on a daily basis, but when I go, all right,
I want him really weirdly, don't you?
No, I think, all right, did he send me his end of day report today? Did he get this done? But I do with the.
So this customer was one of your accountability clients.
Yep. Sorry, this customer is. It's a motorbike that just went past. Sorry.
Wow.
That was really loud. So this client, he's awesome, but basically he's the person that would read my book, right? The exact person. So he was unhappy, hated his life, hated everything. Let's just put it that way. And he was at rock bottom. He tried to reach out. He tried to do so many things throughout the years, and he just kept falling off the wagon. And then for some reason he found me and he's like, Holly, I don't know what to do anymore, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so now we're actually seeing him change and reconstruct his subconscious to now believe that he's good enough and to actually start acting as if he's the person he wants to become. Not acting, but actually transforming, And I'm not joking. In 4-6 weeks, his mindset has shifted so much that it made me just take a step back and go, gave me chills. I was like, wow, that's the reason I wrote this book. That's the reason I'm alive today. And my purpose is help people wake up happy every single day. That is my purpose. And I've lived by that for the last 3 years. So that's probably the first client that's really touched my heart and reminds me every day that I'm living in purpose, and which I know you're big on. And number two, the thing that changed my business the most was, I think it was July last year, I put out a call to action anyway, but a few of these clients that came on board started with the fitness side of things. So as soon as they got their routine, their habits, their health in check, they we were kind of looking at all areas of their life. They were wanting to pursue big things. So a few of my clients, and I'll mention one of them because he's so awesome and he would love this. His name's Greg Evers. He's so awesome. Go follow him. He, what his dream and goal, and he's getting there. He's full manifesting this. Hey, so amazing. He is an example of someone who puts in the work, visualize, manifests it, and gets a result. And yeah, his goal is to actually referee the Super Bowl. So it's a big dream goal, but he's slowly getting there. Like, it's amazing. Like, he sent me a massive email the other day saying, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm like, this is just crazy. Anyway, and another client, he basically 16 weeks, he got a new job, moved states, awesome new relationships, like all of this in 16 weeks. And that was because we set specific action steps. And this all came together as how to level out all areas of your life, and be held accountable to reach specific goals. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And a lot of people have asked me like, Holly, you're really like an accountability coach. That's what you really are. And I was like, I never really thought of it that way. So I was like, stuff it. I'm going to create an accountability program.
Yeah, no, it's quite amazing. I get to hear these stories on a weekly basis. So for me, it's always very encouraging because I also know that the amount of work you put in. You really are a worker. And you certainly have learnt to work much more since working with me.
Definitely.
I remember at the beginning, you're giving me so much work to do. I can't keep up. Like,
oh, it was so overwhelmed.
You remember you're almost having this meltdown
after
the second month, and you're like, I know I have to because you do all these things every day. And I said, just suck it up.
Just do it. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Like, it's, get it done. And you just went bum up, head down, and I just know that I can push you so much harder.
But the thing is, like, ever since I did that, I've realized, like, my resilience is going, up slowly and slowly. But ever since that, the very first time we started, you gave me so much stuff to do and answer. And, oh, my gosh, the 2,500 reconcile transactions to go through. Just stuff we have to start with, right? Like, purpose play with whatever.
Oh, that was the second week.
Oh, it was horrible.
Year zero. And I'm like, this is terrible.
Oh,
what are you doing? And you're like,
yeah.
Okay. And so, like, in there, sit in there, journalize, and reconcile every account. And you did it.
I did it.
But I think what's the lesson there for all of our amazing listeners out there is you got to persist, but it's not just persistence, and it's not this notion of not giving up. You got to know why you're doing it. And for Holly, she knew she was doing it. I would explain to you why and what it would do to you. And you're an incredible listener and a great doer, and that's what allowed you to really up the game in your business. And you're also an incredibly amazing sponge. You really take on board. I mean, we record all of our coaching calls. Holly's based in Brisbane, and I'm in Adelaide. And Holly will sometimes go, I've listened to the recording twice now. I'm like,
and I still didn't get it.
Twice? Right? And she's like, yeah, twice. It was that good. That was that good. And the thing is, you go away and you grab so much value from every conversation. And then you put all that value back into your customers. And that's the secret, right? So I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you.
What's your biggest failure? And what did you learn from that experience?
When I think about the biggest failure, I think of the time where I literally couldn't walk and I literally felt so sorry for myself. I felt like, look,
This is when you got really sick, yeah?
Yeah, this was like, I think I was, to be honest, I was like only 19, to be honest. Yeah, I was still pretty young. But I was working.
Still young.
I'm still really young. It wasn't that long ago, actually.
It's funny when you say to me this all the time. I'm sitting here. And FYI, for everyone listening, this is how Holly and I talk when we have our sessions. So it's
a podcast
actually
every day.
Molded right into where we normally are. It's like, and she'll just rip out, I was really young. I'm like, Holly, you're 22.
Back in the day.
Like, come on.
When I couldn't walk.
I think I'm 44. I've lost track. I'm counting at 40.
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
Tell me, this was a big moment in your life?
Yeah, because this was my turning point to everything, to building my book. Like it's how like you have to go through, not have to, but usually all successful people go through a really low point in their life, right? Because they learn, they build resilience, discipline. Oh, usually more than once, right? And it sounds terrible to say this, but I'm expecting, more things to happen in my life, but I'm not scared because I know what to do now, and that's going to make me stronger. Anyway, so when I was 19, like I was working all these, like waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, finishing work at like, I don't even know, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And I was still going to the gym. Crazy. I was burning myself out way too hard. Anyway, and I can't even remember the exact time it happened. It just happened over a period of time. I literally went down to pick up something and my back just like shattered. And I still didn't even go to the doctors because I'm really that person who just does not go to the doctors back then. So I'm pretty sure from everything that everyone's ever told me, I'm pretty sure I have a disc that, slipped or whatever you call it, and gets inflamed every now and then still. So I still have to look after my back. So yeah, anyway, I remember like laying in bed and I'm like, just felt so sorry for myself. I'm like, why do I let myself do this? I worked so hard and look at me now. Had a bit of a sook. And and then I was like, well, I can't do this anymore. Anyway, and that's when I looked into the online space, getting online, personal training and, was laying in bed and I just quit my real estate job and I had no income. So it's like, what the heck do I do? So that's when I felt like I failed. And I moved back home and mum's like,
what did you learn from that experience?
What did I learn? Good. I learned that the human body is a human body and not a machine. That's number one. Number two, that when you push yourself to a certain extent where you feel like you could drop any minute or you feel like you could break any minute, that's actually very crucial, I believe, to any kind of form of resilience and discipline. Like I remember just driving, I was like, I'm going to thank myself for this one day. I'm going to thank myself for this one day. And you know what? I so do, because I wouldn't have built BizFit. I wouldn't have written 30 Days of Happiness if I did not go through that time. Well, maybe I would have. Maybe it would have happened to me again because I wouldn't have learned from it. So I guess what did I learn from it is to look after yourself and use your failure to the best of your ability and build something from it. Like every single failure that I have now, I'll film a video from it. I'll use it to a certain extent. I'll create something from that. And now I don't really believe in failure at all. Like it's just another stepping stone to opportunity, like you say. So I listen, I'm a sponge. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, failure is just another opportunity to start again more intelligently. And, I'm not sure some people say that Einstein is attributed to that quote. Some references say it's not. But whoever came up with it, it's really true. Failure is not a bad word. Failure is okay. And I mean, hell, I went and wrote a book about it called It's Okay to Fail.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that actually I've got to send it to you. I don't think you've read my other book.
What is it? Is it
It's okay to Fail?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know you had that book.
Yeah, I've got another one called Getting Shit Done as well. They're just small ebooks, about 1/4 of the size of your book. But I wrote these mainly as almost like manifestos, about a moment in my life where I kind of went, I need to teach people this. It's okay to fail. There is nothing wrong with failure. Like, it's going to hurt, right? There's going to be some failures that hurt. Some of the failures I've had were significant life pains. But if you use them, if you use the learnings to create more opportunity for yourself, and not just yourself, others. I think that's the most important thing. Everyone that I work with, we're aligned on one thing. We genuinely want to help other people.
Yeah. Because
we've got that fire in our belly and we've got our brain firing on all cylinders, that purpose is real. And you definitely demonstrate that. And I think that's the key. Now, if you could wind back the clock to 3 years ago, what would you do differently?
How old was I 3 years ago? 19.
Even 18. If If you could wind clock back to 18, what would you do differently, Holly?
You know what? There's absolutely nothing that I would have done differently. I think about this question. I have thought about it. And there's only one thing that I would have really, actually two things that would have really changed. Very slight things, right? And they're big things if you look at them in a different way. Number one, if I knew where I was going to be now, I would have done my Cert 4 in fitness in school instead of go for an OP or whatever it was back then. And instead of getting into, actually, I'm really glad. I believe like God put me in that year of real estate because that taught me how to build and literally run a business. So I'm glad I was there for a purpose and a reason. But I do wish I did my Cert 4 in fitness in school and found coaches or someone to help me build an online business. That would have been awesome because right now I'd be extremely set up. And I still am, like I don't regret it at all because it happened the way it did. And I think the last thing would be I would have journaled a lot more, to be honest. I found it really hard to express my emotions, and I used to take it out on people. And this was when I was really young, like 14, 15, 16. I was really maybe not really an angry person. I was just
like a normal teenager.
Like an angry teenager going through puberty.
My children don't ever go through that angry phase.
Oh, they might. Just be prepared. Anyway, so I would have journaled my feelings a lot more, I think, because I felt like I could never really express like the household I was in. I really felt like I could, like if I wanted to cry, I felt like I would be like, oh, why are you crying? Don't cry. All the typical, things. So I felt like I really couldn't, never been to a psychologist, never been to counseling, like never could express anything to anyone. And that's why I rode horses as well. Like that was my release. But I guess, I think I would have, you don't know when you're really that young what to do when you're in that situation. Like you're like, just keep living this the way it is. But I would have journaled and I probably would have seeked out actually to get counseling or gone, Mum, I need to speak to someone or something like that actually, because that would have changed my 16, 17, 18 years in high school.
Well, thank goodness that you came out all right in the end.
Whew. Yeah. Right. I'm fine now. I'm happy.
What we're going to achieve in the next 22 years.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait to see when you're 44, when you're my age, what you've achieved, but more importantly, how fulfilled you are and your tribe. Holly, what's the most important thing in your very young life that you've learnt?
The most important thing that I've learnt?
Yeah. What's the most important thing that you've learnt?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind, and I think I've already touched point of this, when you're in the lowest point in your life, and this is, I class it as a high performance habit, and it's when you're at the lowest point and you feel like giving up or failing, or you feel like it's just getting really hard, or you feel depressed or upset, or something's not working, you've lost money, whatever it is, that's not the time to sit down and sook and, just let life do its thing, but it's time to push. Once you're at the bottom, push, because you'll get back to the top faster than you actually think you will. Like I think Tony Robbins has like a 2 millimeter rule. As soon as you're about to fail, you feel like you're going to fail, that 2 little more milliliters or inches or whatever it is, you're actually to succeeding. So my, I guess, high performance habit that I've built a habit to, because this is a habit, like you don't just all of a sudden, because if you're sad and depressed one day, as if you're going to get up and feel the urge to do a motivational video and go for a run and do all that kind of stuff, right? Or to build a business that you've just, that's failed. And you're not going to feel like doing that, but you have to teach yourself to do that. And that's, I guess, something that I've learned to do. And it's a habit. It's a high performance habit. And now every time I'm at lowest point, I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I've failed. Whatever. Again, failure doesn't exist. So I have to keep pushing, push, so I can get back on top and get my head above water. Because as soon as you go underneath, that's when stuff starts getting a bit dark and it's harder to get back up.
I think the key message there is, if I may, you got to build grit. It's that tenacity, but it's also acknowledging where you're at. When I went through my failure experiences, mine were catastrophic. When I found myself homeless and nowhere to go after being semi-retired, what really keeps you going is hope. And that's what I would say to everyone is don't lose hope. You and I, we're faith-led, so it does make a difference. Yeah. That's our choice, just like it is for people not to be faith-led. But For me, that was significant. It was the ability to know, you know what, this chapter is closed. What could open up tomorrow?
That's it.
And, you're right. The first time, it's really hard. The second time, it's easier. The third time, the fifth, the sixth. I mean, I call it failing forward. And that's why failure is okay. Now, my other rule, which I know I've told you many times, is you got to fail often and you got to fail quickly.
Yeah.
Right? So fail fast, fail often, because the failures are going to be much smaller, which means that you can, learn much more rapidly. In technology, it's a test, learn, test agenda. And it's very powerful. Sean Ellis talks about it a lot. And I think that's really important. Okay, Holly, we are almost out of time. In fact, we've gone way over. But in Christian Livolsi tradition and the business growth mindset, we're going to do the fast 5 in 5.
Oh, I'm a bit nervous.
So, what makes you feel inspired?
Seeing other people achieve their goals and their purpose.
Okay. What is the best compliment you have ever received?
I don't know. That I'm purpose-led.
Okay. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
The girl who makes people happier.
Awesome. Best book recommendation?
Millionaire Success Habits by Dingo Seriously.
Awesome. And finally, if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
It would be a big yellow billboard with a massive smiley face on it saying, "You are alive today and you're here for a purpose."
All right, wonderful. Holly, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I really want to take this time to thank you. I want to also thank all of our listeners. We value and we know that there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and yet you have chosen to listen to ours. And for that, I want to thank you. Just a quick reminder, I want everyone to make sure that you visit the show notes where you will find all the useful links and notes. But more importantly, you'll be able to find a way to connect directly with Holly. We'll post her LinkedIn URL there and also her Facebook handle or any other handles that she deems appropriate. One massive shout out to, to my awesome team at the Business Growth Mindset Growth Outsource Media Sociale and Argentinino, because they fully support me, and also I want to thank them for their resilience in putting up with me. For those of you who are new because you have come to us via Holly, please subscribe to the podcast, because we love having the vanity metrics. I do anyway. But more importantly, if you do subscribe to the podcast, make sure you change your notification settings, because you will not be notified of future episodes, and we don't want that, do we, Holly? All right, Holly, once again, thank you. Bless you. I'll speak to you soon, no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, live with purpose. Are you ready to start taking action on your business? Would you like to spend more time with your family? Then call 1300-643-229 and start building momentum right now. I know you're busy. In fact, you are so busy that you don't have time to work on your business or yourself. Often tossing and turning at night, worrying about the how-tos and the cash flow. How on earth can you possibly get off the hamster wheel so that you can take a helicopter view to see where you'll be in 90 days, 1 year, or 3 years from now? In this program, I will take you from sleepless nights to blissful sleep. You'll have more time with your family, and you will have the clarity and direction so you can grow and flourish. Call 1300-643-229 now and start building momentum.